Welcome to session 2. In this session, we will focus on standards of evaluation, criteria of evaluation and types of evaluation. Firstly, coming to standards of evaluation. Firstly, we need to be very clear with the formulation and negotiation. The purpose and characteristics of the program or activity to be addressed in the evaluation, and identifying clients, decision makers and potential users, specifying range of activities to be undertaken for evaluation, and estimating the cost to be proposed for evaluation is very crucial while formulating and negotiating the evaluation process. The second is the structure and design. It is very important that logistical, ethical, political, fiscal concerns as well as methodological requirements are taken into consideration. If proper care is not given to these aspects, the evaluation process suffers. It cannot be objective. Thirdly, it is data collection and preparation. A good evaluation should have a proper data collection and preparation plan. The estimated validity and reliability of data collection instruments and procedures must be verified as per the circumstances of their use, and documentation of the source, method of collection of data and the circumstances under which the data has been collected is very important. Fourthly, it is about data analysis and interpretation. Analytical procedures and units of analysis must be related to the appropriate data collection, and the documentation should be in such a way that it facilitates the replicability in a proper way. Communication and disclosure. This implies that the findings and the recommendations of the study should be properly communicated, and it should also give a clear description of how findings were derived, and the disclosure should follow proper legal and proprietary understanding as agreed upon in advance. Lastly, it is the question of utilization. How useful it is to the policy makers. So it should be made available. The findings of the evaluation should be made available to the policy makers before relevant decisions are made, and there should be a clear distinction between the findings of the evaluation and any policy recommendations therein. Only when such distinction is made, it helps the decision makers to use the policy or the evaluation findings for effective policy making. The next step is the criteria for evaluation. For an effective evaluation, different scholars have interpreted different criteria to be observed while conducting evaluation. To summarize the interpretations of different scholars, for the very first criteria for evaluation is effectiveness. It primarily depends on the extent to which the direct results of interventions, that is outputs, contribute to the sustainable achievement of policy objectives, that is outcome. The important question is, has the valued outcome achieved? Measuring a qualitative impact is not an easy exercise. It involves a lot of complexities. For example, we can measure the rate of literacy, but we cannot measure the level of competence of a particular group. The same is the case with, you can measure the doctor-patient ratio or the number of beds in a hospital, but the same cannot be used to measure the impact on health of the target population. So it is as far as effectiveness is concerned, qualitative assessment is a bit complex exercise. Now coming to the second thing, that is efficiency. It is mostly concerned with the time and cost involved in achieving a stated objective. Policies that achieve greatest effectiveness, that is valued outcome, at the minimum cost and time are said to be efficient. These two, that is effectiveness and efficiency, appear to be successive levels in the results of chain. But an optimum assessment or a good assessment at one level does not automatically lead to a positive assessment at another level. An efficient intervention may not be effective, and an effective intervention may be inefficiently implemented. So it is not that an efficient policy is always effective and an effective intervention is always efficient. So something can be efficient and may not be effective too. Adequacy. Adequacy is something which addresses whether a problem is resolved. It is in terms of sufficiency for a specific requirement. The next criteria is equity. In the equity, the most relevant question could be, are costs and benefits distributed equitably among the different groups? Has the policy addressed the inequalities in the society? The next criteria is responsiveness. The related question to this is, do policy outcomes satisfy the needs, preferences or values of any particular groups? Most particularly the marginalized and the disadvantaged sections of the population. The last criteria for evaluation is appropriateness. Are the desired outcomes, that is objectives, actually worthy or valuable? Are the policies related to the acceptable values and ideologies, which is very, very important. The next aspect of policy evaluation is types of evaluation, that is evaluating policy content, which is called as formative evaluation, which ensures that a program or activity is feasible, appropriate and acceptable even well before implementation has started. This helps in understanding the context, content and implementation. The next is policy implementation, which is more concerned with process. It is like, what is the current performance, what are the problems, what are the solutions, and how you can improve performance by recommendations. The next is summative, which includes both positive and negative achieved in terms of goals. Next comes outcome or effectiveness evaluation, which measures the program effect in a specific target population. And finally, it is about comprehensive evaluation, which is a very wholesome process, and it is a combination of both process and impact evaluation, and is very useful from the point of view of public policy. Now, the same evaluation criteria have been tabulated in different ways so that it is very easy to understand. For example, the first one is formative evaluation, evaluability assessment and needs assessment. The questions which it addresses are very clearly laid down, at what stage we have to use, and the table seems to be quite self-explanatory. The same is the case with process evaluation, that is, it's when to use as soon as the policy implementation begins, how well the policy is working, and it also provides an early warning for any problems that may occur. So then resource evaluation, which also comprises of material resource and human resource. This also is carried out during the course of operation of the existing policy, and especially given the discussion on sustainable development and sustainability, this assumes very important because it is more on the resource availability and the sustainability of resources, and it demonstrates cost effectiveness and sustainability of policy. And the next is outcome evaluation and object-based evaluation, which we have already discussed. This is clearly put in a tabular form where you can understand when to use it, what it shows and why it is useful. In this particular table, we have economic evaluation and impact evaluation. When to use, what it shows and why it is useful are clearly laid out in the table. So in this particular session, we have tried to understand the standards of evaluation, because standards of evaluation have to be set at the time of initiation of the process of evaluation, and these help to carry out the process of evaluation in a smooth way. And the next important thing we have tried to address is the criteria of evaluation. The main criteria of evaluation are effectiveness, efficiency, adequacy, equity, responsiveness and appropriateness. And we also looked into the types of evaluation, that is the formative evaluation, process evaluation, impact evaluation, outcome evaluation and comprehensive evaluation. So this is to tell that evaluation is a dynamic and an ongoing process which is reflected at every stage of the policy process, and it is for us to decide which aspect we need to evaluate and accordingly decide the type of evaluation to make our policy process a comprehensive one.